Yes. Mr. Baloyi.
As the court pleases, my lord.
You're still under oath, Sergeant?
Confirmed, my lord.
My lord, yesterday the state referred to exhibit VV in brackets 1.
VV.
Yes, VV in brackets 1. It's a dental report.
Right, yes.
Compiled on the 22nd of June 2020, just before our journey yesterday.
Right.
Advocate Ngomezulu stood up and indicated that the reason why they handed up this dental report was only to refer to the date of the 22nd of June 2020 being the date of the examination.
He says the only reason why they hand up
the dental report,
yeah, it was to indicate,
was to indicate that that accused number 2 was examined,
yeah,
by a dentist on the 22nd of June 2020.
right.
But my lord, that came after the state had re-examined the witness on the contents of exhibit VV1. So basically the boat had already sailed. This morning we reached an agreement, my lord, that to resolve this list between the state and the defense, the dentist will be called in due course.
Yeah, but I have evidence before this court. You can call the dentist, but the evidence I have here is of the report, which is consensual by consent of
Yes.
both parties,
Yes.
handed up. Am I?
Yes, section 213, my lord.
Yeah,
That even if we did not expressly say
Yeah.
so, that was the import of the
Right, and there was no
handing
addendum
up. Yes,
or any explanation
yes,
that this document is handed up for the limited exigency of the date of the 26th of June.
yes. Indeed, that is the position. my lord.
Because this was an examination which was prompted, as I understood the evidence, by this witness when he took the accused number 2 to the dentist.
Yes.
Is that not so?
Indeed. In fact, they put it to a witness that the accused did not appear in court on the 22nd of June.
Yeah.
And to buttress their point, they then handed up this document to show that he was examined by a dentist on that day.
Right. And after that, you led evidence about the examination, alleged examination, which was undertaken by this doctor.
Yes, indeed. my lord.
But the gravamen of the matter is that that report is before this court. Is that not so, Mr. Ngomezo?
My lord, it is so.
Yes, it is before court.
Do I have to make submissions on it?
No, you
Or is it
can.
the only question the court asked?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm saying, as far as I'm aware, this report is handed up lawfully and it is before this court. That's all.
But my lord, we have made an agreement.
That agreement doesn't bind the judge. You know that. You can agree with Mr. Baloyi to go to the moon. It doesn't bind this judge. This
My
judge
lord-
is bound by evidence.
My lord, may I, with due respect, address this case in this manner?
Yes, sir.
The state has submitted that the purpose for handing over the document was for the defense to demonstrate that accused number
The state has argued that.
just submitted now, confirming what I've used the statement for that reason. The contents of the document
Yeah.
was not alluded to
By whom?
by the defense during cross-examination. We only dealt with the date, which is, I would submit, is the evidence aliunde outside the contents of the document itself, because the defense intended to demonstrate the alibi defense to say when the state alleges that accused number 2 attended court in Shabani on that particular day. So our alibi to that effect is to say accused number 2 was consulted with the dentist. So the contents and everything contained in the docket was never been an issue to be clarified from the witness.
Yeah, so your submission is a document can be headed up holistically to this court, but this court must just peruse
May
a
I?
minuscule part of it, the 26th of June. The other information which was elicited by this gentleman, who is the state prosecutor, I must ignore that.
No, my lord, I said, let's look at the nature of the evidence.
Yes.
I submitted that it's evidence aliunde. It's outside the document itself because it only bears the date, not the contents of what was accused number 2 examined for.
You want us to play the record back? Mr. Baloyi led this evidence. Where's that document? Let me just look for it. Mr. Baloyi placed the contents of the document on record. Am I correct, sir? Everything.
Indeed.
There's no evidence aliunde. Everything was placed by Mr. Baloyi on record. Let me just get it. He said this witness must read the heading. He read the heading. I remember it's Bafokeng CHC, etc., etc. He even elicited evidence about the number of cavities and the dental structure of that your client. He elicited it. So when you say it's aliunde, it can't be correct, sir.
My
Please.
lord, may I just indicate that
Sorry,
this witness...
wait. Where's the? Just give me a copy of that. Because the papers are being messed up. Is that the witness's copy? How much a copy it?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Mine has got notes.
No, right, I've got it. For instance, the following evidence was put on record. Complainant, patient requests an examination for oral cavity, dental history, extraction of health questionnaire. Do you present or have you previously suffered from any of the following allergies? Rheumatic fever? No, he put it on record, not me. Venereal disease? No. HIV/AIDS? No. Lung disease? No. TB? No. Are you on medication? No. Smoking? Yes. And then it goes. Rheumatic fever? No. Psychosomatic disturbances? No. Pregnant? No. Viral infection? No. Epilepsy? No. Diabetes? No. Liver, kidney problems? No. Hypertension? No. Asthma? Yes. The patient reports to have been admitted for a heart condition. This is the doctor writing. In 2014 following a mining accident, and it is signed. And Mr. Baloyi also went on the other side and said to this witness, can you put the following information of the clinical examination on record? And he called it a general appraisal. TM joints, lymph nodes, intra-oral exam, lips and buccal mucus, oropharynx and tonsils, palate, he even said palate, remember that, floor of mouth, tongue, gingival and periodicum, angle classification, teeth chart, interdental spaces. He even said it's 11, 12, 21, 22, 23, and then conlingual recession, 41, 42D. All this information was placed on record, sir.
My lord, may I make a following submission?
Yes.
We never agreed with the state in relation to the contents of what is before this lordship. My lord, that is a copy in the first place. What I've canvassed to the state are requested to see the original of that document, because a copy cannot be handed to the court. Primarily, we want to establish the authenticity of the document. Secondly, if we did not agree on the contents, then the author of the document must be called to testify, to lay the basis upon which he or she made that finding. Number two, the witness concerned, based on the contents of that statement or of that report, cannot explain. He has no medical background. So the person that we as the state agreed to call is because, firstly, when I asked for the original document to compare with that.
But you know what? All this comes now. You never said all of this yesterday when you were leading your client and when you were cross-examining this witness. You never said
My lord, this thing came after when
yeah,
the
so
state
don't make me like I'm a
re-examined.
judge who doesn't listen. Never canvass any of this information. Never. You never did. And now you're canvassing it even without a leaf of this court.
My lord, may I request that the court incline to our agreement with the state.
But it doesn't bind me. That's what I told you. Can you show me any law which says an agreement between the state binds the court?
No. I don't want to go insofar as that is concerned, my lord. But from your assistance as the adjudicator in this matter, if the parties so agree to, as prescribed
I
in terms
have
of
not said I am not allowing the parties to agree to call the doctor. I never said that. Never. You can call the doctor. No. I can't stop the state calling a witness. I don't have that might or capacity in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act. That's why I say, you and him, if you agree on whatever, fine. But I am bound by what was led in evidence in this court. That's all I'm saying.
And my lord, I wish your lordship to take cognizance of the fact that I wouldn't be in a position to cross-examine again the witness, because that aspect was raised at the time when the state was examining the witness. We request your indulgence, my lord, to get the original document first, and for the doctor to be called to confirm the contents of what is contained in the dental report.
Is this in pursuance of a fair trial, this application?
That's my submission, my lord. That would be fair.
Mr. Are you finished? Mr.
I'm done.
Mr. Baloi, there's an application.
As I put this, my lord, the defense handed up the document. They approached the state and said, can we hand up this document? And we agreed. And they wanted to use the document which they used, but now that it appears as if it's to their disadvantage, now they want certain portions to be disregarded. It doesn't work that way, my lord. Once a document has been handed up by agreement, it binds the parties. We submit, my lord, that the defense cannot now make a volte-face and say, but we only handed the document just for a specific limited purpose.
No, that is not correct, because I was in court, I was listening when you were leading this witness to read what is written on the report.
Yes.
And there was no objection from Mr. Ngobezulu. No objection. Niggies.
In fact, they read part of it in the record.
I know.
Yes. But
anyway, are you opposing that application, sir?
Intimated on the strict basis of the law, my lord.
You are opposing it?
We oppose it.
Fine. You can call that witness. I don't have a problem. Any response, sir, before I make a ruling? Mr. Ngobezulu?
Yes, my lord, I stand by my
Okay.
my submission.
Fine. Yeah, there's an application by Mr. Mgomezulu on behalf of the applicant, of Mr. Ntansi, accused number 2, and this relates to the fact that after the evidence, which is encapsulated in Exhibit VV1, which was handed up to this court by 2 officers of this court, who told this court that they had agreed to hand it up. And they even agreed that it should be marked Exhibit VV1. And it was duly marked. And this witness was led on the contents of this very document. Cross-examination was conducted by Mr. Ngumezulu in relation to some aspects of this document. Now, this court is seized with this document. The state is opposing the application for the retraction and the recantation of the contents of this document. And Mr. Baloyi says, on a point of law, the state is opposed to that. And I ask pertinently Mr. Ngumezulu, well, whether he wants the retraction of this document purely because of the exigencies or the requirements of a fair trial in respect of his client. He says yes. I'd like to differ with Mr. Mgomezulu, and these are the reasons. In the case of the National Director of Public Prosecutions and David Cunningham King, it's case number 86 of 2009. It was an appeal from the judgment of Mr. Busielo, the former clerk of mine, who was in the Supreme Court of Appeals. He wrote the judgment against which there is an appeal. The judges who presided on this application of appeal is Haramse, who was the deputy president of the Supreme Court of Appeals, Nugent, Mlambo, Malan, and Majid. And this is what they have to say about an exigency like this, where evidence is now sought to be recanted when it was formally and lawfully admitted into this court. If you want to read this decision, you can read about it. It's about this billionaire who was avoiding tax, King. And they took him to all the courts, right up to the constitutional courts. This judgment actually landed up in the constitutional court. But it concerns the basis of what is a fair trial. In paragraph 4, the scribe Adams has this to say: it is well to remind ourselves at the outset of a number of basic principles in approaching the matter. Constitutions call for a generous interpretation in order to give full effect to the fundamental rights and freedoms that they create. The right to a fair trial is, by virtue of the introductory words of Section 35(3) of the Bill of Rights, broader than those rights specifically conferred by the fair trial guarantee therein, and embraces a concept of substantive fairness that is not to be equated with what might have past master in the past. This does not mean that all existing principles of law have to be jettisoned, nor does it mean that one can attach to the concept of a fair trial any meaning whatever one wishes it to mean. The question remains whether the right asserted is a right that is reasonably required to a fair trial. A generous approach is called for. This is the question for the trial judge, and there is, in general, not an a priori answer to the question whether a trial will be fair or not. Potential prejudice may be rectified during the course of the trial, and the court may make a preliminary ruling depending on how the case unfolds, and may revoke or amend it, like I did yesterday. Irregularities do not lead necessarily to a failure of justice. There is no such thing as perfect justice, a system where an accused person should be shown every scintilla of information that might be useful to his defense, and discovery in criminal cases must always be a compromise. Fairness is not a one-way street, conferring an unlimited right on an accused to demand the most favorable possible treatment, but also requires fairness to the public as represented by the state. This does not mean that the accused's right should be subordinated to the public's interest in the protection and suppression of crime. However, the purpose of a fair trial provision is not to make it impractical to conduct a prosecution. The fair trial right does not mean a predilection for technical niceties and ingenious legal stratagems like here, or to encourage preliminary and pervasive litigation. In this judgment, these 5 judges, senior judges, I must say, they quote the case of S versus Sheikh, 2002, SA 208 CC, at paragraph 43, and the case of State versus Basson, 2003, 3 SA 582 Constitutional Court, at paragraph 120. And there is an addendum that an allegation that an interlocutory ruling was wrongly made, which may have a material impact on the outcome of a case like this one, is not sufficient to demonstrate that the trial was unfair. They also cite the case of R versus Corner, 1995, 4 SACR 411, paragraph 139, 185. They also cite the case of Montgomery and His Majesty's Advocate General and another, 2003, 1 AC 641 PC 673. This is a British High Court case of Lords by Lord Hope of Craighead, quoting Pillar versus United Kingdom 22 EHRR 391. They also caught the case you read yesterday, Key versus Attorney General, Cape Provincial Division and another, 1996 for SA 187 CC, paragraph 13. And they also quote the case of Zuma versus the Director of National Public Prosecutions and others. I've got all the judgments here. I don't have to read them. If you want to read them in adumbration of one I've already read, be my guest. But the application, Mr. Ngomezulu, is not acceded to. It is dismissed. But having said that, you and your colleague, you can call any witness you want. But the application to exclude this evidence, which was formally tendered in this court, is refused because it's not in the interest of justice. And these gentlemen, 5 of them, make it obvious that a a right to a fair trial is ambidextrous. It's not only for the accused, it is also for the state and the public, which is represented by the state. Because there's an assumption in South Africa that Section 35(5) applies only to accused persons. No. The corollary, when you understand the law, is that what should happen in Section 35 should also happen in respect of the presentation of the case of the state. It's not a one-way traffic, as they say. Okay. Yes, Mr. Bana.
Sergeant Mokhane, counsel for accused number 1 and 2, put the following proposition to you regarding the events on the 18th of October 2020 at the workplace of accused number 2 at Sibanye Stillwater in
18 June.
Yes, 18 June, I'm sorry. Sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, 18 June 2020 at Sibanye Stillwater in Carltonville, that after Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mohola had departed, you asked accused number 2 for directions back to Rustenburg. He thought that you were satisfied with the explanation that is regarding his whereabouts on the 26th of October 2014, and that you're going to release him.
Mwelele wa molatofatša wa pele le wa bobedi ba ile ba bolela le lena ba le botša gore ka di 18 tša June 2020 re be le mola Sibanye Stillwaters lena ka moraga gore monna Gininda a sepela le mogola lena le ile la botšiša molatofatša wa bobedi tsela ya gore le boela jwang morago go ya Rustenburg. Ke mo eleng gore molatofatšwa yena o be a nagana gore lena le se le kgotsofetse ka dilo ka moka tše eleng gore le be le dikhumane gape le be le tlo molokolla.
Meli kamsolwa uqala lesibili uthi ngomhla ka-18 kuJuni lapha esenza khona umsolo wesibili eSibanye Stillwater eCarltonville. Uthi emva kokuthi-ke uGininda noSergeant Mohola behambile, wena wabuza ukuthi indlela eya eRustenburg ihamba kanjani. Wase-ke ngaleso sikhathi besicabanga ukuthi ubuziswa ukuthi vele hayi kusonelisekile ngako konke okwenzekile enokuthi-ke emva kwaloko uyomkhulula.
Your response was, when we left the mine yard, we had evidence that accused number 2 was not at work and that you parked outside the premises and he had a conversation with Brigadier Gininda.
Karabo ya lena le geshe le jwa mola merafong lena beshe lena le botlhatsi ba gore molatofatša wa bobedi o be a se mmerekong gape lena le be le pakile ka ntle.
Now
kuthiwa-ke lapho-ke masele nilelisekile ukuthi umsotho wesibili wayengekho emsebenzini ngalelo langa nase ninaye niphaka ngaphandle uBrigadier Gininda wasekhuluma naye.
Now, except for the cloaking records of accused number 2, was there anything else that was shown to him by Brigadier Gininda?
Biale ka ntleng ga di record tšela tša ge tša go tloka tša molatofatšwa wa bobedi go na le dilo tše dingwe tše e leng gore mohlomong lephodisa Gininda le ile la mmontšha tšona.
Ngaphandle kwamarekhodi okutloka lapha emsebenzini khona uGininda amphodisa khona umsolo.
Ego gopola lena from our side.
Are you referring from our side?
Yes.
Aksango gopola bo tsemara sana moncha no ready to know village fela ka
I do not want
Yes.
to respond on what I do not
Maybe
remember
just-
correctly on what happened.
So angifuna ukuthi ngiphendule into engayazi.
Just to rephrase, you mentioned an identity kit. When did that where did that incident take place regarding the identity kit?
Go le gopotsa lena le ile la bolela ka identity kit. Taba ye we e be e diragetse neng?
Ukhulume nge-identity kit, leko kwenzeka nini?
Okay, gopola bjale ke nako le re le ka mo ntle ga mine before re tlo tsamaya.
Now I remember, my lord, that happened whilst we were outside the mine before we left.
Sengiyakhumbula manje lokho kwenzeka ngaphandle kwemayini singahambi.
So when accused number 2 approached, or when accused number 2 indicated that he wishes to speak to Brigadier Gininda, that was after the clocking records had been consulted and this ID kit shown to him.
Molatofatšo wa bobedi yena o be a rile o kgopela go bolela le ntate Gininda ka moraga gore beste ba mmontšhitše di-clocking record le ID ntho we yena kit yela. It is correctly so, my lord.
Manje umsolwa-ke semuva ukuthi-ke kweneliseke ukuthi bamkhombise ama-clocking record akhe baphinde bamkhombise-ke nale-identity kit.
Now, regarding the events of the 19th of June 2020, the day on which accused number 2 made a confession to Lieutenant Colonel Rapadu at Moroka Police Station.
Jwale ditaba tša di 19 tša June 2020 ge ne molatofatšwa a ilo bolela a ilo ke bolela mo pele ga lephodisa kwa Moroka Police Station.
Manje because 19 of June umsolwa-ke iyovuma isono phambi ka-Colonel Rapadu eMoroka.
It was put to you that you were traveling in a Toyota Fortuner.
Lena ba ile ba le botša gore le be le sepela ka Toyota Fortuner.
Kuthiwa buhamba nge-Toyota Fortune.
That is correct.
Kunjani?
Do you remember its registration number?
Le sa gopola gore number plate ya yona e be e reng?
Ke FV
FV
47
47
LRGP.
LRGP, my lord.
I-number plate yale moto ko FB47 LRGP.
Do you know if this vehicle is fitted with a tracking device?
Le a tseba gore koloi ye we e be e loketšwe tracker na?
Rena re bitsa AVL.
Yes, and we refer to it as AVL.
Manje hayi le moto ayinayo i-tracker kodwa ithina siyibiza ngokuthi i-AVL.
What does AVL stand for?
Ye metšeng e
For
AVL le
record
bolelang ka yona.
Automatic vehicle location.
Automatic vehicle location, my lord.
Usho ukuthi automatic vehicle location.
And what purpose does it serve?
E šoma go dira eng?
E kgona gore tšireletša gape le gore bontšhana re sepela kae le kae re dira mošomo wa rena.
It is able to protect us and to also direct us on where are we driving as we are conducting our duties.
Yasivikela nokukhomba ukuthi besihambaphi masiloku senza umsebenzi wethu.
And the witness would still like to proceed, my lord.
And gape le go bontšha koloi le gore ya botsuiwa re kgona le go e lebelela ka yona AVL.
And to also show if the vehicle is to be stolen, we are also able to see through the AVL.
Kuthi-ke imoto itshontshwa siyakwazi ukubona ngayo le AVL.
Now, counsel for accused number 1 and 2 put it to you that on your way to Moroka Police Station, you took a detour and stopped at a filling station near Alberton, where accused number 2 was assaulted. Will this be reflected in the records of the AVL?
Jwale moleledi wa molatofatšo wa bobedi yena o rile ge ntše le sepela le ya Moroka Police Station lena le ile la fapoga la tsena mo e leng gore le be le ile o tšhela petrol gona mo Alberton mo la petrol station mo molatofatšwa a ileng a bethwa seo se tla kgona go bontshana mo yona AVL ena.
In other words, if there was a deviation in the route that you had to follow, would that be reflected in the AVL records?
Mola ge le na le tswile tseleng e be le swanetse le e latetse e tla kgona go bontsha go yona AVL eo.
Manje kuthiwa ngesikhathini ya eMorocco naphezulu nahamba naye endaweni yase-Alberton naseGarage afika umsola waphi noshawa khona. Manje umbuzo uthi-ke lokho kuzokhombisa yini kule AVL yena?
Itlabonche.
Yes, it would reflect, my lord.
Yebo izokhombisa.
Yes. It was put to you that when you deviated and stopped at a filling station, accused 2 was taken out of the Toyota Fortuner and brought to Mr. Jonathan's vehicle, that he was made to sit on the right side of Mr. Jonathan's vehicle, and Sergeant Mabena was on the left, and Buthelezi was on the right at the back, and that Sergeant Mabena used a silver-colored two-weights plastic to suffocate the accused, and that Buthelezi was blocking accused number 2 from leaving the motor vehicle, and that the accused was assaulted, and that you moved away from that place after this assault to a dumping place near Alberton at an industrial area.
Ke taba e telele ye mo eleng gore ba re molatofatswa o ile a ntshiwa ka koloing ela e be le sepela le yena ka go yona a lokelwa ka koloing e leng gore e be e na le Jonathan le Mabena le Buthelezi yena a lokelwa ka leska ka seatleng sa go ja mo eleng gore Mabena yena o ba le ka seatleng sa lenyene Buthelezi yena a tšea plastiki ya Truworths a lokela molatofatswa sefatlhogong ke mo eleng gore o ile a bethwa ka moraga mowe le ile la tloga la ya mola mo go latlhiwang dilo gona.
In other words, that the accused was assaulted in your presence.
Se se bolelang gore molatofatswa o bethilwe lena le le gona. Even today, my lord, I'm still declining that that never happened.
Okay, umsolo yethu kisho motuni yakho isomotweni ehamba uJonathan uMabena wayekhona ngaphakathi noButhelezi uthi uMbuthelezi wakhipha iplastic ya-12 le ayifaka ekhanda likaMsolo and futhi-ke kuthiwa uMabena yena wayemvalele ngale kumnyango ukuthi angakwazi ukuphuma and kuthiwa kwaqhubeka kuchawa khona umsolo lapho waphila.
And there at the dumping place on the way to Alberton, that the accused was handcuffed to a steel pipe. He was further assaulted.
Gape ba re molatofatswa mola mo go latlhiwang dilo gona ke mo eleng gore molatofatswa o ile a bethwa ka pipe ya chipi.
And later on that Brigadier Gilinda arrived, but it was put to you that you did not participate in the assault there at the garage or the steel place. It was put to you that you moved away when the accused was assaulted. You came back there at the steel place and said they must stop assaulting the accused. It was put to you that the words were used is Yekelani Diman.
Ba re ge ke mo eleng gore lena ba re ga seng ke lebe karolo ya go betha moisaoki gape go ile go tswelwa pele a bethwa go fitlhella lena le be le botswa mantswe a gore lesang moisao.
Was the accused ever assaulted in your presence there at, as alleged by the defense, at this steel place?
Molatofatswa o ile a bethwa na lena le le gona mola mo tulong ela ya ditšhipi. I do not recall him being assaulted.
Umsolo wathathwa endaweni okulapha khona uDuweti wafika wakushela ensimbini lapho kuthiwa uBrigadier naye weza lapho kuthiwa wena akawuzange ubeke isandla khona lapho wena wasuka wahamba wathi wasala washawa wena wathi usubuya ke wena wathi yekelani demand wathi cha kwenzeka.
And that from that point, it was put to you by counsel for accused 1 and 2 that you proceeded to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, pick up Colonel Rapadu, and went to a dumping place in Orlando where there were disused machines where the accused was further assaulted in your presence.
Gape ba re go tloga mo ke mo ileng gore lena le ile la ya sepetleleng sa Baragwana, ke mo ileng gore le ile la tšea lephodisa Raphadu, gape la tswela pele la ya Orlando, ke mo ileng gore molatofatšwa o ile a bethwa gape le ntše le le gona.
Now,
Kuthiwa ke lapho wena asuka nesibhedlela sase-Baragwana, Baragwana, lana thathwa khona uKenneth Raphathu, nayo kule ndawo ekulatshwa khona idoti ngase-Orlando, la waqhubeka khona washaya umsoco.
now, were there any charges laid that an assault took place in your presence and that you failed to stop such an assault?
Go na le melato e leng gore ile ya bulwa na ya gore motho o bethilwe le gona lena le paletswe ke gore le thibe ge be motho a betho.
Manje khona icala yini elavulwa lokuthi wena ukhona isikhathi eshaya umsoco?
Awu.
No,
Cha lithi.
Or any disciplinary proceedings put in train for the fact that you failed to stop an assault in your presence?
goba motlhomong megato e tšerweng mmerekong ya gore lena le paletswe ke go thiba motho a bethwa.
Nokuthi khona iy'nyathelo ezathathwa emsebenzini wakho ukuthi wena awuzange ugweme ukushawa kukamsoco.
Awu.
No,
Cha akukho lokho.
You mentioned further in cross-examination by counsel for accused number 1 and 2 that you did arrange escort on the day, the 19th of June, 2020. Now, what is the position when you are being escorted? Are you allowed to deviate from the route?
jwatše lena le ile la re ka di 19 tša June le ile la kgopela gore le tle le be le batho ba ileng gore ba sepela le lena ba le lateletše. Jwatše motšhotšhisi o nyaka go tseba gore le dumelletšwe na gore le fapoge tseleng ge le na le batho ba ileng gore ba sepela le lena ba le latelela ka morago.
Manje banile abantu abanipindezelayo niyavunyelwa yini ukuthi niphezuke endleleni?
Awu.
No, we are not allowed to deviate, my lord.
Cha asivunyelwanga. My lord, may I request a comfort drink?
Yep. Are you proficient? Oh, Mr. Jonas is all right.
As a court, please, my lord, the state is going to canvass the AVL report with the witness. The copies were given to the defense on Friday when we received the report, my lord.
Wait. You say there is a report.
Yes.
What you call it? What? An AV?
It's an AVL report, automatic vehicle location report, that shows the movement of the vehicle in question.
Sort of a tachograph.
Indeed, my lord.
But you say you have a report. Has it been disputed?
Well, it was handed to the defense on Friday.
Yeah.
They haven't really indicated what their position is.
No, they must indicate, because as I recall, evidence of a technical nature requires an expert to adduce that evidence. You can lead that evidence through this.
Yes.
But if you say it's a report of a mechanical device, are you going to call the expert?
Well, it just shows the location.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
Yes.
But is it being disputed by Mr. Ngomezulu? Are you objecting?
I'm objecting, Madam President.
Right. Mr. Munisi, are you objecting?
I'm just receiving it now. I think it's 30 seconds ago.
30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Mr. Ngumalo,
My lord, it is
10
evidence
seconds ago.
It is evidence of a technical nature. I don't understand what is written here.
Technical.
Yeah, it's true.
You have never heard of evidence of a technical. I don't charge much for classes, you know.
Yeah, it's technical. I don't understand, my lord, what is written.
Okay, fine. What do we do if they say they want to prepare and they are opposing, and you want to canvass it with this witness?
As a court, please, my lord, I personally brought this document to the defense on Friday.
No, Mr. Mnisiare.
The
Sorry, 30 seconds ago.
No, the court will recall we adjourned early on Friday. I personally came to court, gave each counsel a copy of the report. They were consulting here with the accused.
So they got the report on Friday?
Yes. Immediately when we received it, my lord, we shared it with the... I brought it personally to them here in court.
My lord, may I just make the following submission? During examination in chief, this evidence was not led.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yes. Now the state wants to reintroduce new evidence.
Yes.
So I believe it's not going to be fair, because we must also cross-examine the witness. That means the state wants to reopen for us to cross-examine the witness, because we don't admit the contents.
Yeah, he's going to. He knows the law. He's going to bring an application. So what do you intend doing, Mr. Baloyi?
As the court please, my lord, it was put to Sergeant Mokhani in cross-examination that he took a detour. Stop over at the filling station, stop over at an industrial area in Jamestown, stop over at Chris Sani Baragwana Hospital, and also stop over at Orlando, where there were disused machines. They put it to the witness that he was using a Toyota Fortuner. The witness is just testify that it's fitted with a tracking device. And if there's objective evidence, my lord, that can assist in the resolution of this issue, and we must mention that it's something that cropped up in cross-examination, that the witness deviated from the route. We submit, my lord, that if there's objective evidence that can help to resolve the issue, that evidence should be allowed.
Are you ready to argue the contrary, all counsels, or do you want to prepare? Let's start with Mr. Mgomezo. There's an application. Do you want to prepare to oppose it, or what is the position?
We have, my lord, I'm not ready at the moment.
You want to prepare?
I want to prepare, but before I give another counsel, I need some clarity in terms of what the state has just informed the court or submitted to the court about this piece of evidence on the road that the defense suggested that they were taken from that filling station up to Orlando.
Yeah, they stopped, according to the version, if I recall it, they stopped next to a filling station. In Alberton, there's a board which says Alberton, there's a filling station. Then the accused two was then transferred into Jonathan's car, placed on the back. He maneuvered the seat to injure his ankles. Mabena was on the right, that evidence. And after that, the convoy left to a dumping place where there are still piping. The beating continued, and thereafter, during that beating, one of the handcuffs of the accused two was loosened, and he was connected to a pipe and beaten again. And after that, the convoy left towards Orlando. Baragwana, Orlando, then there was beating in the dumping place. Now this gentleman says he's got evidence to counter that. Are you saying that, sir? Hello?
Indeed, my lord.
That's what he says. He says he's got a tachograph. He calls it an AVL.
My lord, the purpose for bringing this application is to rebut the version of accused number 2. But the whole issue about the movement of this witness and Mr. Mabena did not start at the cross-examination.
No, fine. It doesn't
matter. It started at examination in chief.
Yeah, fine.
Where this witness, Mr. Mabena, drove to Pukeng. That's
No,
the
fine.
evidence of the destination that they are going to reach.
But the
there were
pro-
movement that were mentioned by the state during examination. Chief.
Mr. Gomezo, you are a seasoned lawyer. He wants to introduce new evidence.
That's correct.
And if you are going to object to it, tell me. You want to prepare or you object to it now? So too, Mr. Mnisil Numalo and accused number 5 counsel.
Can you prepare, my lord, to make submissions? I'm not ready now.
Until when? Until when? When do you want to make?
Maybe we can proceed after lunch. It's not going to be much.
Mr. Mnisil?
My lord, well, I've got the following submission to make. It will be noted that apparently, I'm not so sure to what extent will this also have an impact on accused number 3. But
I don't know.
now.
I don't know.
Yes. The reason why I'm saying this is almost 5 minutes that I've been handed to this document. The state says it handed to us on a Friday, but I'm receiving it now 5 minutes ago. As an officer of the court, maybe there's something that I can pick from the document that I can assist the court
Yes,
with.
yes.
But if it has been handed to me 5 minutes ago, I'm not in a position to do that because I haven't gone through the document.
How long do you need, Mr. Mnisil?
I don't know, my lord, what this document consists of and my analysis of it, whether
Mr. Mgomezulari is just an easy document. ABC.
maybe
Lunchtime, we should.
maybe he had an advantage of going through it, you see, because it does not seem from, it does not match from Mr. Ngomezo.
So you need how many- how many-
On the basis of the document.
How much time do you need?
Let's try after lunch, man. I would go with what
Mr. Ngubalo?
was saying.
I also propose that we start after lunch.
What's the time now?
Please, my lord, if I can make this proposal, maybe we can let this witness stand down until tomorrow. There's a short witness who's waiting outside. Maybe we can then proceed with that witness in the meantime,
Okay.
and then adjourn after that.
You want to properly formulate an application.
Well,
I've listened to you, I've heard you.
yes,
But for record purposes,
we can simply amplify that.
yeah, me, I prefer written submissions so that you can't say, yesterday he didn't say this, he said it when Mandela was still president. If there's a record, then you are able to say, here's the record. So are you going to prepare some short hits?
Yes.
All of you, some short hits.
Yes,
That's all.
That's until when, my lord?
Now we can do it tomorrow because he says there's another witness, a short witness. So you can bring the application tomorrow, fully formulated, and then you also you can bring your responses fully formulated tomorrow. Because you are saying you want to come back at 4:00, meaning that you don't want to take a lunch hour. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Nguman?
No, that is not what I was saying.
So how many minutes do you have between now and 1:00? How
Yeah,
many?
if we have to prepare ahead, I
Hello?
think
Yeah, how many minutes do you have? What's the time now?
it's 11:10.
So you have 1 hour, 50 minutes.
1 hour, 15 minutes. So
To
I think
prepare.
it will be short. If we have to prepare it, I propose that maybe we adjourn until tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow then.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, the application and its objections by councils will be heard tomorrow morning at 10. You are excused until then, Mr. Mokwane.
Ntate Mogwane, go nna le kgopelo e santseng ba e dire jwa tse swanetse ba ilo lokisha dipampiri ke ka mo e leng gore kgoro e re lena le a lokollwa le tlo boya gape go sasa le tlo tswela pele ka moraga gore ba dirile kgopelo ya bona le a kwešiša. Well understood by the witness, my lord, and he says he will be present tomorrow.
kunalolu daba ke ofishane ozolungiswa-ke mayela nale ncwadi emayelana nokuthi le moto babehamba ngayo yahamba miphi imizila noma yahamba kanjani ngaleya langa abameli-ke bathi banenkinga naloko banikezwa-ke isikhathi ukuthi bakulungiseleke lokho ukuze kube kusasa ufakazi lona uzodedelwa-ke na umshushisi usunayo nje ufakazi ozothatha isikhathi esincane ekungaqhutshekwa ngayo yena-ke ubaba umkhana uzobuya kusasa.
Yes, Mr. Mgomezulu?
My lord, may I request your lordship to remind the witness before he leaves about the dockets that we requested him to bring.
The dockets, eh?
docket
Do you remember?
le sa di gopola.
E ke a le gopola.
Yes, I remember, my lord.
Ke a khumbula ka madokote
He remembers.
ukuthi ngize nawo.
Mr. Baloyi, in the meantime, you must mark the report by the sergeant for court purposes.
Yes, it's already been marked exhibit MM in brackets 2, my lord.
You never marked it for mine. Did you mark it? Did I mark mine? No, I don't have. Actually, me, I don't have. The very person who authorized that
Yes.
the report should be made, I don't have a copy, even now.
Yes, if my learned friends don't have a objection, we can hand it up now, my lord.
No, why would they object? It's in the record. I expunged that ruling I made. I revoked it.
So is the court referring to the information?
Yeah, the information which the sergeant marked confidential.
Okay. So,
It's not the one.
No, this
You
is
see,
something
we're
else.
talking at cross purposes.
Yes, I'm sorry, my lord.
Where's that information? Okay,
It
just
has already
remember,
been marked, my lord.
I need it. You say it's marked MM,
No, not this one. I think it's already marked.
already marked? What?
Exhibit WW.
Exhibit WW.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Okay, ntate, tla bana ka hosane.
Go lokile ne?
Tomorrow then.
Le lokolo John Kgalala.
Sorry, were you ever a boxer?
Ba re salla ba Ramatswetse.
No, le ke gym, sa sekolo.
I used to train when I was in school, my lord.
Okay. Is that the document?
In the meantime, my lord, I'm requesting for a comfortable break.
Eh?
A comfort break. Just
Comfort
5
break.
minutes.
Where is your witness now?
He must be outside.
Yeah. Now you can go. Comfort break. How long? How long, sir?
I'm told it's already.
Oh, it's a-
ultimately that we can take a short.
Short agenda. Okay. Okay, 15 minutes is okay.
He's not yet sworn
Yeah,
in, my
so
lord.
the witness in.
Please state your name and your surname for the record.
I'm Joe Martin Naila.
Do you have any objection to taking the prescribed oath?
No, my lord.
Do you feel that the oath is binding on your conscience?
Yes, my lord.
If what you are going to say in your evidence is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, then raise your hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
So sworn, my lord.
Yes.
Is it correct that you are a captain in the South African police?
That's correct, my lord.
Uyavuma ukuthi ukapteni esiphoyiseni saseMzantsi Afrika.
To which office are you currently attached?
I'm attached to the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations.
Uthi usebenzela ku directorate yamacala ayikuthi anikwe ukuthi abhekisiswe
Which section?
Serious Corruption Investigations.
kumacala ayikuthi likhuni kakhulu serious.
How many years service do you have in the South African police?
18 years, my lord.
Usekane minyaka eyishumi nasithupha eyishumi nesishiyagalombili kulibele kuyiphoyisa.
Can you just briefly put your career history on record?
I completed my basic training in 2005.
Uqede ukuqeqeshwa ngo-2005.
And then I had 3 years in the uniform branch.
Wasebenza iminyaka emithathu belibele bagqoka i-uniform.
And then in 2009, I joined the detective services,
Ngo-2009 wangena ke kwaba wo-detective
where I was working in the CDB district.
esebenza e-district yase-City.
Then in 2016, I went to the provincial detective services.
Ngo-2016 waya kubo-detective be-province.
And then when 2018, I went to the Directorate for Priority Crime Services.
Ngo-2018 kulayi ukuthi wangena la sekasebenza manje.
That is where I'm currently still at.
Usasebenza lapho namanje.
On the 5th of June 2020, were you on duty?
That's correct, my lord.
Uthi ngeyi-5 zikaJune ngo-2020 wayekade semsebenzini.
And what type of duties were you performing on the day?
During that time, it was during COVID, and we were on a task team to investigate the COVID-19 offenses.
Ngaleso sikhathi bekade kuyisikhathi salo yabhubhane le COVID-19 bona bebakade beyingxenye yeqembu ebelikade liphenya amacala abekade ayenzakala ngaleso sikhathi.
Just want to show you a document. It's Exhibit GG. It's a pro forma for pointings out, in particular page 11 thereof, where certain particulars appear.
Uyaboniswa ke iphepha ukuthi bekade kunokhomba khona lapho ukuthi kunezinto ezivelayo kuyo.
Okay, can you just put that on record?
I confirm the correctness of the contents.
Uthi uyavuma into ebhalwe lapho.
Just put them on record.
Please read them.
On the above, it reads Force Laura's case 636 of 10/2024, A142.
Uthi ke ibhalwe ukuthi leli yaqala le Phosphorus 636 A142.
And it writes, note down the following information.
Yona ithi beka lolu lwazi olulandelayo.
Vehicle,
Imoto,
SAP number,
inombolo yakhona yesiphoyisa,
BVL,
iBVL
755 Bravo,
755B.
visit kilometer readings,
Amakhilomitha wakhona asho ethi 806.52.
80652. The driver,
Umshayeli wayo,
warrant officer Naila.
warrant officer Nailana.
Passenger left front,
Umuntu bekade ehleli ngakwisandla sesinxele,
Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe.
Lieutenant Colonel Khatebe.
Each passenger at the right back,
umuntu bekahle ehleli emuva
On the right back, no one.
bekungena muntu ohleli emuva kuleyo moto.
Passenger left back,
Umuntu obekade ehleli emuva kwihlangothi lesandla sesinxele
muzika ukhulelwa,
bekunomuzika ukhulelwa
Themba Sibiya.
Themba Sibiya.
Name of photographer,
Umuntu owathatha izithombe
Sergeant Maphakela.
uSergeant Maphakela.
Depart from Alberton SAPS.
Kwasuka ke kusukela eAlbertine esiphoyiseni.
Date returned,
Idate kubuyiwe nini
2020
babuye ngo-2020
of 6
ngonyanga yesithupha
of 5.
ngelanga lesihlanu.
Time returned,
Kubuyiwe ngobani isikhathi?
13:30.
Uthi beku-13:30.
Issue nama kilometer readings,
Amakhilomitha uma ebalwa ke ngaleso sikhathi mababuya
that's 806
beku-806
90.
90.
Now, the driver referred to in this document, who is it?
It was myself, Malot.
Umshayeli lo kukhulunywa ngayo kuleli phepha ubani uthi bekuyimi inkosi yenkantolo.
I just want to show you photos 8 up to 11 of exhibit GG1.
Manje ke bafuna ukumbonisa izithombe ukuthi zathwebulwa lapha.
Do you remember those photos?
I do, Malot.
Tusazikhumbula
Yes.
lezo izithombe.
Do you remember this particular incident?
Yes, I do. Yosho.
Lolu daba okukhulunywa ngalo usalikhumbula na uthi yebo ngiyalikhumbula inkosi yenkantolo.
Can you just give a background of what happened on the day in question?
On that particular date, being the 5th of 6, 2020, I was on duty.
Akusichazisele ke ukuthi kwayenzakalani uthi ngalelo langa lenyanga yesithupha nge5 ku2020 bengisemsebenzini
Somewhere between 9 and 11 a.m.
phakathi kwehora lesishaka lolunye nehora le11.
I received a call from my commander, the retired Colonel Mohlami.
Ngathola ucingo kusuka kucommander wami osekayekile emsebenzini uColonel Mohlami.
He instructed me to go and assist with the pointing out at Albert SAPS.
Ethi kimi ngiye ngiyosiza ngokuyokhomba esiphoyiseni sase Albert.
Just a minute. Yes.
And he was clear on that instruction that on that particular exercise, I was just going to be the driver.
Uthi ke uye wamtshela ke ukuthi ngalelo langa kulowo msebenzi wena uyoshayela kuphela.
Yes.
I did drive and proceed to Alberton SAPS.
Ngayenza njalo ngashayela imoto ngaya esiphoyiseni sase Albertine.
Yes.
Upon arrival at SAPS of Albertine, I parked the vehicle at the parking site at the cells.
Ithema ngifika khona lapho ngapaka imoto ngaseduze kwamasel.
Yes.
And Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe approached me.
Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe weza kimi.
He introduced himself
Wafika wazazisa
by producing his appointment certificate.
wakhipha ke incwadi yakhe ebeyibonisa ukuthi ubhalisiwe.
He then introduced another gentleman.
Ngazisa futhi komunye umlisa
Wathi Sergeant Maphakela.
wathi lo mlisa uSergeant Maphakela.
And he was assigned to take photos during the pointing out.
Yena ke uMaphakela umsebenzi wakhe bekuthwebula izithombe njengoba bekukhonjwa kanjalo.
There was another gentleman.
Bekunomunye umlisa
He was handcuffed, that particular person.
obekade efasiwe.
He did not introduce him to me.
Azange ke bangazise yena lo mlisa bekafasiwe.
But he just informed me that he's the one that is going to do the pointing out.
Kula ngiye ngatshelwa nje ukuthi lo mlisa oboshiwe uye oyokhomba.
You can use Exhibit GG1 to illustrate your evidence.
Yeah, as you see on that photo number 8, I'm standing at the driver's door.
Njengoba ubona ke kulesithombe sathwebula isithombe sesishakalombini mina ngime ngakwihlangothi le umshayeli.
There's a guy wearing a mask at the back.
Kunomlisa ofake isifonyo emuva
wearing a black tracksuit.
Egqoke i-tracksuit emnyama.
That is the guy that was handcuffed.
Yiyo ke insizwa lebekade ifasile.
He is standing at the back.
Lensizwa ime emuva.
Colonel Khadebe is standing right on the left side, as a passenger.
uKennel Khadebe umile naye ngakwihlangothi lesandla sesinxele njengomuntu obekade engashayeli.
And when you look at photo 9,
uma ubheka isithombe esisishaka lolunye,
that is the one that shows exactly the position that the guy was shown to sit at the back of the state vehicle that I was going to drive.
Kulake ikuthi kuyaboniswa lomlisa ukuthi yena wayekade ezohlala kanjani emuva kule moto ebengikade ngiyishayela.
Then that is also the picture of Lieutenant Khadebe at the front.
Futhi no Lieutenant Khadebe uyabonakala khona lapho phambili.
Yes.
At this stage, that is where I overheard Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe.
Ngaleso sikhathi kula ngiyengezwa uLieutenant Colonel Khadebe.
He was asking this particular person
bekabuza lomlisa lo
if he's still sure that he wants to proceed with this pointing out.
Embuza ukuthi unesiqiniseko na ndoda sokuthi usafuna ukuqhubeka uyokhomba.
And then that is when we left.
Kula sahamba khona.
Did he respond?
Uye waphendula lomlisa?
Yeah, the guy responded, he said that is okay. Singaqhubeka siyenze.
Uthe yebo le ndoda iye yaphendula yathi kulungile singaqhubeka siyoyenza. That is okay, we may proceed and do it.
And before that, the guy also indicated to Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe.
Lensizwa ngaphambi kokuthi siyenze njalo uye washo uKennel Khadebe lamazwi alandelayo.
He said he does not know the area of Albertine.
Uthe indawo yase Albertine akayazi.
So he cannot direct us from Albertine to Vosloorus.
Ngeke akwazi ukusihambisa kusuka eAlbertine ukuya eVosloorus.
Then he got inside the vehicle.
Wangena ke phakathi kwemoto.
Yes, he can direct you from Albertine to
Vosloorus.
So what was supposed to happen?
He said if we can just get him to the area of Vosloorus.
Utheke uma singangena saya emgaqweni saya endaweni yase Vosloorus,
he will be able to direct us further.
Uzokwazi ke ukuthi asibonise indlela.
That is then I drove out of the SAPS and headed to Vosloorus via N3.
Bulake iphoyisa liye lashayela imoto laphuma esiphoyiseni langena kumgwaqo uN3.
Yes.
As we were approaching Vosloorus at I'll say the entrance of Vosloorus.
Ithe masisondela ngase Vosloorus la iVosloorus singena khona.
I informed Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe that we have arrived at Vosloorus.
Ngatshela ke uLieutenant Khadebe ukuthi sesifikile eVosloorus.
That is when Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe informed the suspect.
Kula ke uLieutenant Colonel Khadebe watshela lomlisa lo ukuthi sesifikile.
That is when he also said, no, if you are not sure, singabuyele move.
Kula ikuthi uLieutenant Khadebe wathi kule ndoda le uma ingabe awunaso isiqiniseko singabuyele emuva. If you are not sure, we may go back
Ukuthi singamoshi isikhathi.
so that we do not waste time.
And he informed him in such a way that it also covered his constitutional right.
Uma xwayisa ngaleyo ndlela ubekade evikela namalungelo wakhe lomlisa obekaboshiwe.
The guy understood.
Lomlisa wazwisisa.
And then he said, I can proceed. He informed Lieutenant Colonel that we can proceed.
Watshela ke uLieutenant Colonel ukuthi singaqhubeka.
He will tell Lieutenant Colonel that turn right as I was driving.
Njengoba bengishayela imoto lomlisa bekatshela uLieutenant Colonel ukuthi sijike ngakwihlangothi lo sandla sokudla.
then I will do so.
ngiyenze njalo mina ngishayela imoto ngakule ndlela ebangitshela ngayo.
And he will give further instruction or direction to Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe.
Aqhubeke atshele uLieutenant Colonel Hadebe ukuthi siye ngakuphi.
And then when he see the place that he wants to do the pointing out.
As a court pleases.
Okay.
Is it correct that the process was then conducted and finalized? The process was then conducted and finalized.
That's correct, Your Lord.
Iyabuza ke umshushisi ukuthi iqiniso ke ukuthi niye nayenza kanjalo bese kwaqedwa uthi yebo iqiniso.
Yes, after the process was finalized, what happened? After the pointings out?
After the pointing out, then we will drive back to SAPS Alberton.
Ngemva kokuthi sekuqediwe ke kuye kwayenzakalani uthi siye sashayela imoto sabuyele emuva eAlberton.
Upon arrival at the SAPS Alberton,
Masifika ke esiphoyiseni sase-Alberton,
we'll get off the vehicle.
siye sahlika emotweni.
Then the photographer will take the photos again.
Umlisa lo bekathwebula iy'thombe wathwebula futhi.
And then that is when Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe again spoke to the guy.
Kula ukuthi uLieutenant Hadebe wakhuluma naye futhi lo yamlisa.
He was asking him if the manner in which the pointing out was correct, and he was satisfied with the pointing out procedure.
Ebuza umlisa lo yana ukuthi ngale ndlela eyikuthi kusetshenzwe ngayo njengoba bekuyokhonjwa bekuyile ndlela ebekade ilungile na.
Yes.
My observation as the guy, the suspect was to go back to the cells was that prior to the pointing out,
into engiye ngayibona njengoba lo mlisa besisekabuyela emuva emaselini ngaphambi kokuthi kuyokhonjwa mangimbheka,
he was still calm
yena bekade kuumuntu okhululekile
and he was cooperative.
futhi bekasebenzisana nathi.
And I did not interact with him in any manner.
Mina angizange ke ngikhulume naye noma ngiyenze enye into kuye
because I was not part of the investigation.
Ngoba bengingasi omunye wabantu abaphenyayo kuleli licala.
And I did not have the merits of the case.
Futhi bengingazi lutho ngecala.
Now, was there any escort during the pointings out?
We did have a security detail, my lord.
Beyikhona na imoto ebekade inlandelela ebekade isemva kwenu uthi yebo bikhona?
Yes, from where?
Those cars were from the EMPD.
Uthi imoto ebe ikhona beyibuya kwi-metropolis yase Ekurhuleni i-EMPD.
Marked SWAT.
I-marked SWAT beyibhalwe kanjalo eceleni.
Oh, what I can say about those officers is that also I did not interact with them.
Uthi ke into angayisho yena ukuthi nalaba abase EMPD nabo akazange akhulumisane nabo noma ahlangane nabo.
And at no stage were they very close to us so that we can interact.
Nabo lawo maphoyisa wase EMPD abazange basondele kubo ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bakhulumisane.
And during the pointings out, did you see them?
Even during the pointing out, my lord, these guys did not come near us.
Uthi ke manje ngalesiya sikhathi kukhonjwa uye wababona uthi nangaleso sikhathi abazange basondele kithi.
God, please, my lord, thank you. There is one.
Yes, Mr. Amazolo.
Of course, Mrs. Marriott. So, that motor vehicle just gave description of it. Does it have GPS?
The one that I was driving, my lord?
Yes. On that day.
All the state vehicles that are fitted with an AVL.
Do you have the GPS?
No, not in the vehicle.
Kuthiwa ke le moto le bewukade uyishayela inayo na i-GPS le abanye banokuyibiza bathi navigator uthi hayi kule moto bengihamba.
Does it have the headdressers?
The what?
The hairdressers on the seat.
That's correct.
uthi inayo na lento le umuntu akwazi ukuthi ancike kuyo uthi yebo ikhona.
You say accused number 1 was seated on the, was it on the extreme left
That's correct, my
at
lord.
the back?
Uthi yebo ngiyavuma ukuthi umangalelo wokuqala wayekade ehleli kwisandla sesinxele emuva.
At any stage did accused number 1 was seated in the middle, in between the two seats, in between the two front seats?
No, your lord.
Uthi sikhona isikhathi na la umangalelo wokuqala bekade ehleli phakathi kwendawo elibele esemuva phakathi kwale ihlalo lezi ezimbini ezangaphambili uthi cha.
As he was seated at the back, and Colonel Khadebe,
Hadeb.
yes, seated in front of him, was he in a better position to see the road?
That's correct.
Njengoba bekahleli emuva uKenneth Hadebe ehleli phambili ubekade khona na umangalelo wokuqala ukubona indlela uthi yebo wayekade khona.
Do you know from which point, on the left hand side or on the right hand side of that position?
He was leaning more towards the window as he was sitting at the back, looking at the side.
Uthi ke uyazi ukuthi indlela wayekade eyibona kanjani uthi phoyisa wayekade ehlelele ngase sangweni ngase fastereni elibele ebheke phambili.
So in that case, you were so attentive to the position that accused number 1 was seated on.
That's correct, my lord. I have to be attentive.
Uthi bokade umbheke uxwaye kanjalo ngalendlela umangalelo wokuqala bekahleli ngakhona uthi yebo Nkosi yenkantolo kwamele ngibe ngixwaye ngalendlela ehleli ngakhona.
All right. So you said you never interacted with you from you from the departure until you arrived.
That's correct, my lord.
Uthi angizange ngikhulume naye kusukela sisuka fikela size sifika la siya khona.
But at all times you could hear him when he's giving directions, as you have testified to Colonel Khadebe.
That's correct, my lord.
Kodwa sonke lesikhathi bowulibele umuzwa uma libele nihamba alibela khuluma no Colonel Hadebe uthi yebo Nkosi yenkantolo.
Okay. Now we are leaving Albertine. You know the direction from Albertine police station to the on-ramp of N3.
That's correct.
Seniphuma manje ngeAlbertine uyayazi indlela esuka eAlbertine ezonifaka laphayana kwi-on ramp uthi yebo ngiyayazi.
Which side did you join N3 from Albertine?
We are going as from Albertine, then when you join it on the left.
Manje
Then you proceed to the east.
i-N3 ningene ngakuphi uma nisuka ngase Albertine uthi siye saqhubeka sayingena ngakwisandla sokusesinxele ngakula eMpumalanga.
All right. Now we are on ramping towards Heidelberg direction.
That's correct.
Shukuthi bese seniya ngase Heidelberg uthi yebo.
From where you on ramp, which is the off ramp that you took before you reach a place where you said you are in Fosloras? Which off ramp did you take?
The one that says very room.
Uthi eyiphi i-on ramp eniyayithatha njengoba ummangalelwa egcine sekathi sesefosloras uthi ile ethi Berry Room.
Are you familiar with that place?
I know Fosloras. I can't say I'm familiar because
Sorry?
I know how to go from Albertine into Fosloras. I'm not familiar with the area of Fosloras especially.
Umeli uyabuza ukuthi uyayazi na leyo ndawo uthi iFosloras ngiyayazi ngeke ngithi ngijwayele kodwa ukusuka eAlbertine ukuya eFosloras ngiyakwazi ukuthi
All
ngifuna
right.
kanjani.
After you off ramped, the traffic control intersection, Does it involve or does it entail the robots or a stop sign? The Berry Road where you off rent, is it a stop sign or
There is a robot.
Sorry?
There is a robot.
uthi lo mgwaqo lo okhuluma ngayo uBerry Road kune stop sign phambili noma kunama robot
Which-
uthi kunama robot
which direction did you turn?
You turn right.
baye bajikela ke ngakwisandla sokudla.
All right. Before I proceed on that one, is it a cross or a T-junction, sorry. Is it a cross or a T-junction where you turn right?
When you turn right,
Yes.
it's a T-junction.
La ufike khona yini indlela ziyadlulana noma kuyi T junction uthi I T junction.
Yes, let's proceed. What do you pass first before you?
You will must pass underneath the main road.
Uthi ke udlulani ke uthi sizoba ngaphansi komgwaqo lo ophezulu.
So you had to pass the bridge. Is that what you say?
And yes,
Uthi yebo likhona ibroho khona lapha esiye saldlula.
Soon thereafter you pass the bridge, there is a robot. You agree?
that's correct.
Ngemva kokuthi sidlulele liya broho kune robot uthi yebo likhona.
On the left hand side it's a taxi rank. Do you agree? On the left hand side after you've passed the first robot, it's a taxi rank.
I
Do you
don't
agree?
agree. I don't agree.
Ngakwisandla sokusesinxele maniqeda ukudlula liya broho kune taxi rank uthi cha angivumi.
Okay. How many robots that you've passed after you passed the bridge?
I can't recall, my lord.
Nidlula
I was
ama
being
robot ayingaki.
directed.
Ngemva kokuthi nidlulele liya broho uthi angeke ngikwazi ukukhumbula ngoba bengikade ngitshelwa ukuthi ngiye kuphi.
All right, let me just put it to you that as soon as you pass the bridge towards the first robot, there's a taxi rank on your left-hand side, just for your information, but that is not relevant. Let's just proceed. Now you entered Phosphorus. Did you reach or did you come to another robot after you passed the first robot?
My lord, as I indicated, I was being directed. So I will not really remember if we turned before or what.
Uthi ke ulwazi lwakho nje sohlabela mgama nangokho wena ungavumi le ndaba ye taxi ranking ngiyakutshela ukuthi ikhona I taxi rank umbuza nokuthi nidlula ama robot ayingakho uthi njengoba bengisese ngishilo Nkosi yenkantolo bengitshelwa ukuthi ngiqhubeke ngiye kuphi.
Now, I'm still on that line where you were informed by Colonel Khatem. But you were the driver, you were attentive, you pay attention to what you were doing, and you knew that you would be called to testify one day. Am I
That's
wrong?
correct, my lord.
Uthi yebo iqiniso mina bengikade ngixwayile futhi bengumshayeli bengazi nokuthi ngizobizwa ngelinye ilanga ukuthi ngizophana ngobufakazi.
For the benefit of your evidence, I know the place you're talking about. When you reach the second robot, what is on your left-hand side? Oh, sorry, when you pass the second, upon arriving at the second robot, where did you turn? Or what were you told to do or to go?
My lord, as I've indicated, my position on that day was to drive, not to count how many tents, how many robots, what is the tree or what is the thing.
Uthi ke ummeli ngicela ukukunika ulwazi ukuthi leyo ndawo ngiyayazi. Ithe maniqeda ukudlula ke irobot nina niyena jika kuphi uthi mina umsebenzi wami bekukushayela ngalelo langa akusukuthi bekwamele ngibheke ihlahla noma ukuthi sidlulani kwamele ngishayele nje ngiye la ngitshelwa khona ukuthi ngiqhubeke ngiye khona.
Sir, I disagree with you. You drove from Albertine without being informed. That was part of your duties. You arrived at Phosphorus, you were informed. I just want to, because the evidence that accused number one is going to say, he never gave directions to the driver. Neither Colonel Khade. I want you to lead this court as to, at the entrance of First Lawrence, which direction did you take?
My Lord, as I indicated, the accused did mention that he's not familiar with the place. If we can drive him until the entrance of First Lawrence, that is what I did.
Correct.
Uthike mina njengoba sengichazile ukuthi ummangalelwa yena uthe akayazi le ndawo kusuka eAlbertine ukuyofika eFirst Lawrence kodwa uma singamtshela uma sesifike eFirst Lawrence kulayo ukuthi uzokwazi ukuthi asiyise ngoba ummeli uthi ummangalelwa yena uzokhika ukuthi yena wayekade elibele ebatshela ukuthi jikani la nijike la uthi yena akazange akwenze lokho.
Now we are at the entrance where he said, according to you, if you can take me to First Lawrence, I'll be able to direct you. We are in that spot now. Tell us what accused said, because you could better hear him when he was conversing with Colonel Khade.
That's correct, my Lord. From that point, that is when the accused is telling Lieutenant Colonel Ngakube Gambani straight.
Uthike kulaye ukuthi ummangalelwa ke ithema sesifika la besithe kuse First Lawrence uye wathi ningaqhubeka hambani straight. You may proceed straight, my lord.
Proceed. Yeah. You proceeded, yes.
From there, that is when he started telling Lieutenant Colonel Radab, turn left, turn right, until we reach a spot where he will say stop.
Kusukela lapho ke kulaye ukuthi uye waqala etshela uLieutenant Hade ukuthi jikani ngapha jikani ngapha ufikela size sifike la athe sime.
So in other words, are you telling this court that you cannot vividly recall the directions that was given by Colonel Khadebe by accused number 1?
Correct, my lord. Even today I can't take you to that house.
Manje uthi wena awukwazi ukuthi ukhumbule lendlela eyokuthi ummangalelwa wayekade eyitshela uColonel Hadebe kufikela nize nifike kule yanto uthi nanamuhla ngeke ngikwazi ukubuyisa kuleyo ndlu Nkosi enkantolo.
My lord, may I consult with my...
Yes.
My lord, okay, so I'll just put it to you, and that when Colonel Khadebe tendered his evidence, he never, just like you, precisely gave this court the directions that you say accused number 1 gave you. Just like you. You could not precisely say, he said turn right after 100 meters, you turn left at the stop sign, you drive over the off-ramp. He never gave such directions.
My lord, are you referring from the point of Albertine until the stop sign or from?
No, I'm referring to the entrance, from the entrance of First Lawrence. As we have just indicated before this court that you cannot recall the turns that accused number 1 said you must make. I'm putting to you that is the same evidence that Colonel Khadebe tendered before this court, that there is no precise recalling of turning, but accused number 1 took them to a particular place.
Well, I wasn't there, but I believe what you're telling me, my lord.
Uthi ke ngifuna ukukutshela ke ukuthi ubufakazi buka Hade bufana ncamashi nobaba la ukuthi awuzanye wena usho ukuthi ummangalelwa uthe sijikela no Hadebe naye akakwazanga ukuthi atshele inkantolo ukuthi ummangalelwa uthe sijikela uthe naye akasakhumbuli njengawe usho namuhla ukuthi awusakhumbuli.
All right, you arrived at the destination where you said, so okay, let's not get into the part of, is there any place you had to drive to in First Lawrence before you drove back to Albertine? Did you have to go somewhere else?
negative, my lord.
khona enye indawo ekuthi niyena kwamele ukuthi niye kuyo ngaphambi kokuthi nibuyele eAlbertine njengoba benise Phosphorus uthi cha.
So if it's negative, I want to be precise with that answer. If it's negative, you mean accused number 2 never directed you to another place other than the place where?
My lord, the accused took us to 2 places in Phosphorus.
Uthi-ke
Only 2.
umsolwa njengoba uthi ayikho enye indawo umsolwa akazange anise kwenye indawo uthi usise kwindawo ezimbini ePhosphorus.
All right. I don't want you to mention that particular place, but it was a particular place. Is it the first place that you went to? Amongst these 2 places.
I'm confused. Can council maybe be more specific?
We avoided to mention the particulars of, I think it's one of the redacted parts of the evidence. Hence, the court assisted me in terms of using the word particular place than crime scene. I'm referring to the place, the particular place. I would say the crime scene. Which place did he take you to first? And the other place you did not even mention, what place is it?
My lord, the accused took us to a street where there are houses.
Yes.
And you must remember, during the pointing out, my duty as I sit inside the vehicle. They got out, he pointed a specific place in front of a house. Then we went to an open space. That was the second point that he pointed.
Manje ke Nkosi yenkantolo ummangalelwa yena usise kwindawo ezimbini ungakhohlwa ukuthi mina njengomshayeli umsebenzi wami ukushayela uma bephuma mina ngihlele emotweni baye baphuma baya ngaseduze kwenye indlu ethize ulaye ukuthi babuya mayiqeda wasihambisa wasisa esidlangalaleni.
In that open area, it doesn't have structures, buildings. What do you mean about open area?
That open area is next to the hostels.
Le ndawo le ngikhuluma ngayo esibini iseduze nehostel.
Okay. Same after that exercise was done, so you had to drive back to Albertine.
That's correct, my lord.
Masengiqedile niyena buyela eAlbertine uthi yebo iqiniso.
All right. Now I'm concerned about, you said you mentioned the rights. When was it? Inside the motor vehicle before you departed to Phosphorus?
Before we departed, he did mention those rights to him, that you're not being forced to do this thing.
Uthi-ke ukhulume ngamalungelo lamalungelo lo bamchazisele nini ngaphambi kokuthi nihambe noma bekukuphi uthi ngaphambi kokuthi sihambe sisase laphayana eAlbertine bamtshela ukuthi nawo amalungelo wakho futhi awuphoqelelwa ukuthi uqhubeke ngalento ofuna ukuyenza.
Was it inside the motor vehicle or outside?
They were standing outside.
Bebaphakathi emotweni ngalesikhathi emtshela amalungelo noma bebangaphandle uthi bebame ngaphandle kwemoto.
All right. Before everyone got into the motor vehicle, was it not outside the offices? Was it not outside the offices in Albertine police station?
My lord, I never entered the offices.
Uthumeli ke ngalesikhathi ekhuluma ummangalelo oqala bekungasi ngaphandle kwama office phoyisa liphendula lethi angizange mina ngene ema office Nkosi yenkantolo.
And it's procedural that, as you were reading from that pro forma, that an interview was conducted before accused number 1 was taken to your motor vehicle. Can you dispute that? Or it's a common practice?
That is according to procedure, my lord.
Uthi imigomo isho njalo ithi ngaphambi kokuthi athathwe uyaye ahlonywe imibuzo umsolwa uthi yebo.
So in such a common practice, it would be prudent as well to explain the rights of the person, whether you were inside or outside, but it's a common and general practice that you would explain the rights of the accused.
That is correct, my lord.
Futhi ke nangaphambi kokuthi kwenziwe noma yini umthetho vele ukuthi amalungelo womangalelwa anikwe wona uthi yebo iqiniso.
Yes, according to Colonel Khatebe, he said he explained such rights inside the office, room 31, if I'm not mistaken, in Albertine Police Station.
I wasn't present when those rights were read to him, my lord.
Yes, I'm putting to you that this is what Colonel Khatebe said. I don't say you were present or not. I'm just putting to you that Colonel Khatebe said he explained such rights to accused number 2.
I agree.
Muthi ngiyakwazisa ukuthi uKenneth Hadebe naye ushilo ukuthi amalungelo ummangalelwa ngingamchazisela wona sisase phakathi egumbini u31.
And I believe after he has explained such rights to the accused person, before the completion of the form, accused must have understood what was conveyed to him by Colonel Khatebe.
That is correct, my lord.
Uthi ngaphambi kokuthi amafomu angagcwaliswa bese kwenzwa zonke izinto ummangalelwa kwamele ukuthi kube uzwisisile yonke into ebekade amchazisela yona uthi yebo iqiniso.
All right. From your experience and from your logical point of view, even common sense dictates, what could be the reason for Colonel Khatebe to repeat such rights for the second time to the accused when you were present?
My lord, such practice you have to do it because a person can change his mind at any time.
Manje kusuka kulwazi lwakho nobuchwepheshe bakho kungani uKenneth Hadebe aye wafanele ukuthi achaze amalungelo futhi uthi kwamele uwachaze futhi ngoba umuntu angahle aphenduke athi awumchaziselanga amalungelo akhe.
All right. At Phosphorus, prior to the pointing of a particular place, was such right explained again?
Are you referring to when they were outside the vehicle after we were stopped at the point?
No. You reach your destination of ramping from entry to into Phosphorus, where he said you can take him to that place so he will be able to direct you. My question is, at that time when he said now I'll be able to direct you, were such rights further informed?
Yeah, that is what I said before, my lord, that when after I've stopped to inform Hadebe that we were there, he informed him again to say, that's what he asked.
Buza ke ukuthi ithema sesenifika la uthe ummangalelwa kula ayiqalise kanjela ukuthi niqhubeka kanjani amalungelo ayewachazwa futhi na uthi into engiyishilo ukuthi iphoyisa liyelamtshela ukuthi ndoda ungahle uhoxe uma engabe awusafuna ukuqhubeka wamchazisela namalungelo wakhe.
My lord, before I conclude my cross-examination, may I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you, my lord, for the budgets.
Sir, there's one thing that I want to put across to you as per the version of accused number 1. He informed me that during his conveyance to Phosphorus, he was not talking to anyone. He was just at all material times was looking down until he was informed that he must get out of the motor vehicle.
I beg to differ with that version, my lord.
Uthi ke ummeli umangalelo wokuqala yena uthi kusukela imoto isuka kufikela izofika la iye yamakhona uthi akazange yena atshele umuntu ukuthi jikani ngapha liphume ngapha. Umangalelwa uthi yena sonke isikhathi bekalibele ebheke phansi lithi iphoyisa mina leyo nto ngiyaphikisana nayo.
Thank you, my lord. That concludes.
Thanks. Mr. Mrs.
I've got no question.
Mamalo?
Thank you, my lord. I have no questions. Thank you.
Number 5. Manye?
My lord, we have no question for this one.
Thank you. Re-exam.
Just one aspect. You testify that upon leaving Alberton, you proceeded on the N3 towards Heidelberg direction and then took the Berry Road off-ramp. Is the correct off-ramp Berry Road?
Yeah, I think that is the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I know that area, Peru. Next to Leondale. Is that so, sir?
That's correct.
How long you have Leondale?
It's actually Berry Mare.
Yeah. Okay.
Uyabuza umshushisi ukuthi uthe manilibele nihamba umgwaqo oluthathile uBerry Road uthi yebo inkosi yenkantolo nayo ithi ngiyayazi leyo ndawo kudala ngiyihamba umshushisi uthi leyo mgwaqo uBerry Mare.
Judicial notice can be taken of that fact.
Yes, no doubt. Is it disputed, Mr. Ngomezulu, that photos of a pointing out were taken because you didn't traverse that? You are saying he was looking down, fine, but there's no traversing of what they were actually going to do there, whether the photos were taken or whether they were not taken. The only evidence which you adduced is that he says your client pointed out two spaces, one on a street next to a house and the other an empty place. But as to whether photos were taken or not, you never traversed it. Am I correct, sir?
That's correct, my
You
lord.
may if you want to. If you don't want to, no problem.
My lord, I did not want to take
Okay, fine.
the witness to that extent.
Yeah, no.
That's correct.
It's just that justice must be seen to be done.
God pleases.
Yeah, boy. Is that all, sir?
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Valerie.
Inkosi yenkantolo beyikade ichasisela nje umnumzana uNgomezulu ukuthi uyakhumbula ukuthi kunezithombe ezithwebuliwe la umangalelwa yena wayekade ekhomba khona awubuzanga ngazo ummeli uthi cha ngicela ukuthi ufakazi lo ngingambuzi ngazo.
Mr. Baroi, what? Are we adjourning?
As a court, please, I was just trying to find out from my learned friends if there was a discussion during the short adjournment. I was just trying to find out if the arrangements are still the same.
What?
Whether the arrangements are still the same that we are adjourning until tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, I see. Is that so?
That is so, my lord.
That is so.
Mamalo?
Confirm the arrangements. Thank you.
Arrangements tomorrow,
We confirm that.
that's it. Unless I'm dead. Okay, shall we then adjourn?
Ningasukuma ke bo baba
Until tomorrow 10.
iqala liphethiselwa kusasa ngo 10 o'clock.